Hello, everyone. Welcome to SnowBrains. I'm your host, Miles Clark, and today my guest is Olympic athlete Errol Kerr. Errol is an Olympic ski cross athlete who represented Jamaica in the 2010 Olympic Games in Vancouver and is based in Lake Tahoe, California. Errol, thanks so much for chatting with us today.
Yeah, well, Miles, thank you so much for reaching out to me after a couple things that have happened recently that went public. First off, before we really get into our discussion today, I just really want to thank a couple of, great companies. Not only that, great people that have been with me and been supportive through this whole, journey, struggle, and day-to-day life. Anyways, first off, Marker, Vocal, and Del Bello, they've been still supportive. You have Spider, Squaw Valley Alpine Meadows, and then, of course, all of the first responders that have, been so kind. I'm standing here today, unhurt, getting healed, getting the help I need through all of those great people, their great help, and their great support.
Fantastic. Right on, man. Well, as you know, Earl, first of all, thanks again for being here. But as you know, the reason we're talking here today is that SnowBrains wrote an article about you having been arrested on April 2nd, 2020. You posted that on SnowBrains, or you posted that SnowBrains article on your social media, mentioning that you've been working through some mental health issues. And when I saw that, I reached out to you about an interview, and here we are. Can you please briefly walk us through what happened on April 2nd?
Yeah, what happened on April 2nd kind of goes back a long ways. I had my first mental breakdown back in 2015. I've been in and out of mental hospitals, and to my close family and close with friends, they've been there with me and been working me through the struggle. But when you finally posted that article, I was like, well, I mean, this is it. Now everybody already knows. So for me, reposting it wasn't something of shame. It was like, now I can finally reach out and tell the world what I'm struggling with, on a day-to-day basis, that this is something that I'll live with for the rest of my life. This isn't a drug or alcohol problem. This isn't addiction. This is a chemical imbalance in my brain. So I'm bipolar. So when I'm not having an episode, I'm the normal Errol that you grew up with. When I am having an episode, I don't know who I am.
Very interesting. And, I just wanted to mention, thanks for sharing all that. And I'm so sorry that, the incident happened. And I have personally some familiarity with mental health, as my brother, who has since passed away, was a paranoid schizophrenic. And I have two immediate family members who are challenged with bipolar disorder as well. So I want to say that I hugely empathize with everybody, going through these kind of mental health challenges. And I know it's actually relatively prevalent and a higher per capita in ski towns, which is really interesting too. And we can talk to that later. And so I also wanted to ask you, could you tell us a little bit more about your new challenge that you're dealing with, and maybe if you're okay with talking about when it may have started, and kind of what your plan is moving forward.
All right. Yeah. Well, I think scientifically you can say that you're born with, mental health problems. They're hereditary. I have my great grandfather had mental health issues, and it's all about managing, that sleep cycle, and also things around you. So growing up, ski racing was probably the best regimen ever for mental health because you're always doing everything at the same time. Everything's scheduled. Things aren't changing. And so with somebody that's suffering with mental health issues, if the rug gets ripped out from underneath them and they're not stable, then their brain can't really cognitively put all the gears together and they start falling apart. And so that's something where I feel like it's so important for me to come out and talk about this because I have, such a good family, such a good group of people that are so stable around me that help to pull me through these, hard times and hard situations. And for people that don't have a good core unit, this would be, a mountain that's just almost impossible to climb.
Yeah, that's I'm very impressed with what you're doing and where you're at, Earl, and all that you've been through, and all that you're still going to go through. And you obviously have a great roadmap. You have a great support team, and I know you're going to be great. And I very much do brings me back to looking forward to skiing with you, man. And so, what has changed in your life since your diagnosis of being bipolar in 2015? Are you skiing often? What's your skiing routine these days? And are you currently involved in the ski industry on a professional level, or what is your involvement right now?
Okay, so my involvement in the ski industry now is really amazing. I get a great opportunity to work with Squaw with their ski school and take people out and show them the mountain that I love, the mountain I grew up on, and all the little nooks and crannies. I also work with great ski companies like Spider, Vocal, Marker, Del Bello. and get to go to their trade shows and things, and help to promote the sport for enjoyment. When you spend your whole life racing, you're trying to be the best on the mountain, and now I get a chance to show the world how much fun you can possibly have on the mountain. So 2010 was the last time I competed. Now I would say that I'm more of a fun promoter on the mountain when it comes to skiing. But I think there's one other thing I wanted to touch that we didn't go over with that, discipline and things, is that, when I first broke in 2015, I would take it back to racing like downhill. You inspect the course, and, you have to go and visualize it all in your head. And you might have some blind turns where you're going to come over the turn at 70 miles an hour and you're going to catch some air. And if you don't have the right direction, you're going to go straight in the fencing and into the woods and die. So, you have to train your mind to believe in something that's not there. And I think that, that was the hardest time for me ever, was to believe that I actually had a problem, that this was something that, I thought everybody else was wrong. And it was the hardest time with all that training and discipline. The mind is, I don't think we even touch on the mind on how powerful it truly is. They say we only use 10% of it, but if you don't take care of that and manage it, it will destroy your life, or it will make you a genius.
I agree, man. Everything that I've looked into, with my having family members involved with this, and I see the genius that they can shine with, and then I see the challenges as well. And we talked earlier before the interview about, or no, we didn't actually, about Andy Irons' new movie. If you haven't seen that, oh my gosh, Kissed by You.
Yeah, I really
go ahead.
I really, I had an opportunity to work with Billabong and some people back in the early 2011s and hear a lot about Andy. And I really need to take some time and watch that movie.
Absolutely. And for those of us that watching who don't know, Andy Irons is also was challenged by bipolar disorder, and he, achieved amazing things, and he had some real challenges. And it's a really beautiful window into the genius that can come from this as well. And so it's definitely, got its good and bad, which is, I think, kind of a beautiful mixture. And that kind of segues me into our next question. So, and what do you think, what do you see for you in the near future? I mean, it sounds like you kind of already have your system, and you've kind of already touched on this before, but is there anything else on your horizon that you'd like to share?
In the skiing world, or life as usual, or just anything?
I think both, but I was referring to skiing. I apologize.
Okay. In the skiing world, just working with Squaw Valley again next year, working with the same ski companies and outerwear companies, and this just came to light. The mental health issues, but I've been reached out to those people from the inside that they're supportive of me, and I don't know what the future truly holds besides more of the same, but I'm excited to do anything to help. If we could have a Ski for Mental Health Day, I don't know what it is, but whatever I can do to help somebody else that's going through what I'm doing, because I already have so much help, and there's a lot of people out there that are struggling just like me, that don't really have somewhere to reach towards.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That was something I wanted to touch on as well, is, because mental illness appears to be very prevalent per capita, especially higher than other areas in the mountains. That would be fantastic. And, I'd love to collaborate with you on something about that too in the future. We'll talk about that more moving forward. You mentioned me earlier that the SnowBrains article on April 2nd affected you in a meaningful way. Can you explain that?
Yeah, the SnowBrains article that came out on April 2nd, that kind of covered my last manic episode. It was really a turning point in my life. So this is something that I've kept very private. It's been between my close family and friends. And all of a sudden, now that it was public, it was like, SnowBrains was the one who went and lifted the weight off my shoulders. Now I could share my story because my story was already out there.
Well, that's fantastic, man. And I appreciate you saying that. And, I, again, appreciate you talking with us here today. And these are all the questions that I have today. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Earl?
No, Miles, just, we got to meet at KT in the lift line and, make sure we cut it next year on a big powder day. No, I hate that this is the first time that we actually get to talk face to face through a glass screen, but Miles, it's been such a pleasure. I know I've ran into you at Squaw in the past, and really looking forward to doing some skiing in the future together.
Absolutely, man. There's only two things I like to do. It's, ski and talk smack. So let's go do that. Well, Earl, I greatly appreciate you speaking with us today. I wish you the best, and I'm very much looking forward to that ski in Tahoe next year, man. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Miles.
All righty, bye.